Bingo Blitz rules.
If your bingo has ads in it,
That's not a bingo.
if it doesn't have the coolest tournaments, mini games, and the most breathtaking design,
Nope, not a bingo.
if your bingo moment makes you feel so excited that you just want to burst in joy and scream out loud, bingo! Sorry, so you're playing...
Bingo Blitz? Now that's a bingo. Discover a world of excitement with Bingo Blitz, the #1 free bingo game. Download Bingo Blitz and play for free.
Now that's a bingo.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Don't Blame Me, where I, Megan,
And me, Melissa.
we give you wonderful, amazing, life-changing advice, all the while looking so absolutely stunning.
What'd you say we look like today?
I said we look like sorority girls at our Founders Day brunch.
Mm.
We do. Check out our Patreon. We're in a florals for spring. How
Yeah.
groundbreaking. Well, on this podcast, you call in, you leave us voicemails, and we give you the best advice you've ever heard. And it's free unless you want to give us your money, in which case,
Great. Go to patreon.com.
exactly. Go to patreon.com.
Ad free.
And if you want our Venmos, hit us up.
Mm-hmm.
But don't ask me to pay you on Venmo for the random people. I told you people used to do that to me.
Yeah.
I can't. People used to be like, I'm a fan of the podcast. Give me $5.
Why?
Excuse me.
I'm the one that's putting in the work.
Yeah.
You don't have to work to listen.
I was telling Mots the other day, I forget what it was, but someone was asking us for something. Maybe it was our merch or something, of being like, how, like, would you consider like donating some of the proceeds to like benefit like women in business? And you were like, we are the women in business. Benefit us. We're not making a lot. Like, we need money. Like,
Mhm.
help me. I was telling Mots that. I was like remembering how funny that was. Where it was like, us. That's the women in business that you're supporting.
Exactly.
You want to support a woman-owned business?
We're here.
Here.
As a podcast network, our first priority has always been audio and the stories we're able to share with you. But at Realm, we also sell some pretty cool merch, and organizing that was made both possible and easy with Shopify. When you think about successful businesses like Aloe or Allbirds or Skims, an often overlooked secret is the business behind the business that makes selling and, for shoppers, buying simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. That's because nobody does selling better than Shopify. It's the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not-so-secret secret that's definitely worth talking about is that Shop Pay boosts conversions up to 50%. That's more happy customers and way more sales going. If you're hoping to grow your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling, on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout we use with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/realm to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/realm.
Hello. We are not making the call her daddy money. Hi, we're giving fucking advice. It's wonderful, it's amazing, and you're probably wondering how we're qualified. How are we qualified?
We're qualified because one day our heads popped out either through, I don't know how you were born, C-section?
Vaginally.
Okay. So our heads popped out of 2 vaginas, and then we swam out, and then I shat in my mom, and then they did an emergency to get all the shat out, and then
And then she formula fed you. Which you
and then I was like, I'm the shit. And
Quite literally.
and then, I mean, these were 8 years apart, but
can't do the math. Good job.
that's not right.
Okay.
7 years apart. That was
Math is
close. That was
overrated.
close enough.
Yeah.
It's not algebra, so I couldn't sit here and work it out.
Get your rocks off on doing some fucking equations.
But 7 years apart, it was like I was born, and it was like greatness, and then you were born, and it was like greatness. When you were born, I was living in Tennessee.
Mm.
You were in California,
Mhm.
and then we just like a sun shined, sparkled over Colorado because that's kind of the midpoint.
And Mott's was born.
And Mott's was there. He was already born.
Oh, he
when you
was
were
already
gone,
born.
by the time you came, but like that was part of your so
This
like,
sounds like a fucking Power Rangers origin story. We were bit by a radioactive spider.
it shined over Colorado, as I said, and then sparks just shot all across the US of A. And then someone said, "Oh my gosh, something just quaked the earth and we don't know what it is." But then 30, no, it's not because you're not even 30 yet. 25 years later, we met in an office where I go, "Those two are fucking."
And I go, "Not yet."
And it was just magic from there on.
It was. I love that. That was like
That's
a
our origin
beautiful.
story.
If like we were rich and we had money, I would pay an animator to like draw that. Like that is like our. That is like our. What is the first part of the Bible called?
Genesis.
Yeah, that's like the. Is that right? Origin. That's the. Yeah, that is like us. There's a car called a Genesis too, right?
Yeah.
We
Why
can't.
don't you get that?
We can't get into my feelings about people who name cars and who pick the colors for all of them. Okay. Anything that you wanted to add before?
Update.
Oh my gosh, we have an update. This I think everyone's gonna be very excited to hear from.
Great.
And that's all we'll say, and you'll hear from her.
So my original call, I had called about the father of my child, his issues with money and not being able to save money, not being able to financially support us by any means. My son, when I called, was I think around 4 months old and had some health issues. And it was just kind of a concern of mine too. His issues with money and handling money. And along with that, his mother and her issues with crossing boundaries. And as far as bringing people over when they were sick and just doing weird things like sticking her hands in his mouth. It's just weird things. Okay?
I remember all this.
Me too.
Yes. I guess update. I moved home. I listened to your call and it just kind of like resonated with me because I remember Megan was like, okay, this is not going to get better because first off, he kind of has mommy issues, which we know well, and the mother had issues with crossing boundaries. And that was just something that no matter how much communication we had, there was nothing. It was never going to get better. And along with that, I stayed with him for 2.5 years. And in that time, no exaggeration, he had 32 jobs.
What? How?
Because like if somebody hurt his feelings, this is the thing, like he had the type of personality, like if somebody genuinely hurt his feelings or like constructive criticism, he took that offensively and then decided that like he could no longer work there. And so he just quit his job.
Oh my
Did
god.
he like formally quit or just not show up?
Just not show up.
That's what I thought.
Yep. I was like, I can't even imagine doing that. Like I gave a 1.5 months notice to my job before I moved out of state because I'm like, please don't hate me. But yeah, so for like 4 months, I saved up money into a separate account and then I bought a house. So
oh my, congratulations.
That's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah. So now I'm close to my family. I have a great support system. I have an awesome son that yeah, he's so awesome. I should show you guys. He's eventually, but yeah, he's ready to hit the road. But,
wow.
yeah.
I'm so happy for you.
Me
Like
too.
I remember
Thank
that
you.
call and I just like remember I remember you were at your wit's end. Like it was a lot. And like we have calls all the time where we talk about like we feel like we're giving people are calling in like, can I have permission to like get out of this? And I'm so glad.
Right.
And like you bought a fucking house. Like this is like a couple months ago you're with a guy who like cannot keep a job or save fucking money and like his like shit fucking mom. And like I'm just like so impressed by you and like this is just like amazing and I'm so happy for you.
Yeah. You did it. Like you
Thank you.
set a goal. You knew that there was a problem. You set a goal. You figured out what you needed to do to help yourself and your son, and you did it.
Like you crushed
Thank
it.
you.
Like you fucking crushed. Like you didn't just get out. You like bought a fucking house. Like you like, and like you're closer to family. Like that's just like, yeah,
The
that's
whole
like,
situation
yeah.
is
And your
just-
son's really lucky to have you. Like that's like that's amazing.
Thank you.
And like, yeah, relationships can be really hard. That people feel like, you know, that they're stuck with partners for kids, but
Right.
like you did like literally the best thing you ever could for your kid, and like he's gonna grow up to like know that like I can get, if I'm not happy, I can get myself out of a situation, and like I can be the cause and the driving force like behind like the changing things and to make decisions for myself in my life. Like that's amazing.
Yeah.
To anybody that's listening, if you're a single mom when you're in a relationship, you can do it on your own because you're already doing it on your own. Just you're carrying around dead weight. So
Wow.
like if you can get out, do it. I know that it's obviously not that easy for everybody, but like it's so much better. Just you'll find your footing, basically.
Yeah. And it might take longer than 4 months, but like you can, yeah,
Right.
like that's like really, really great advice. And I hope people take that to heart because this is like the epitome of like what the proof in that is.
Right.
So, well, thank you for giving us an update and all that. And I'm like, I can't stress enough like how happy I am for you that like not only are you out of that situation, but like you're in, I guess, so you're in a way better place. Like you took so many steps forward. And that's like really hard. And like you should be like so fucking proud of like everything that you accomplished. And yeah, like just thank you for sharing this with everybody too.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys because that all I heard was that episode kind of going back in my head, like, girl, it's never gonna change. It's never gonna change.
It can be a
I'm
little
like,
harsh.
I know. No, I needed that. That's all right.
Well, I'm glad.
Yeah, me too.
Amazing.
Thank you for the update.
Thank you. We'll let you take them home. So
Yeah,
have
and
fun.
enjoy being off of work.
Yeah. Holy fucking shit. If you watch the video version, yes, we're wearing different outfits. Anyways, so fucking happy for her. And I hope that anyone who does relate or might relate to her situation in the future takes what she said to heart. Because I think that's like really fantastic advice that a lot of people would benefit from.
Ugly.
Woo! Okay, so should we get into some calls?
Hi, Meghan and Melisa. I am a 26-year-old she, her, and I am calling and asking for dating advice. I recently got out of a 2-year relationship in July, and I forgot how hard it was kind of putting myself out there in the dating world. I'm not the biggest fan of dating apps because I always get too nervous to meet up with people. It's hard for me to feel 100% me and like comfortable in that situation. I would much rather meet someone in person or through a friend if possible. But I'm also at a point where I'm not really searching anything out. But if I meet someone, I'm not going to say no. That I like, I'm not going to say no. Last weekend, I was hanging out with my friend and her boyfriend, and his friends reached out asking if, we all wanted to hang out. Everybody is around the same age, 26 years old. 2 of his friends were there, and I sort of hit it off with one of them. He was extremely nice, and we had a lot in common, so the conversations were really comfortable and interesting. Like on the base level, he kind of was everything that I'm looking for. We have the same political views. He was really cute. Like I said, our conversations were really, really good. I felt like he was really engaged and he was asking me personal questions to keep everything going. And on our way back to the cars, he even walked faster to catch up with me so we could walk next to each other and talk some more. This morning, or like that morning, they reached out to the 3 of us and we got breakfast together. The 3 of us were at like a big table first, and then that guy and the other friend showed up, and the guy that I liked sat right next to me. I could be looking too deep into this, but that kind of gave me a feeling that he might be interested. After breakfast, we all went back to my friend's apartment to watch a football game. And we just continued hanging out, but nothing really came of it, and I didn't really get his contact information. I wish I could have just had one more one-on-one conversation with him, and we could have exchanged numbers, but there wasn't a great moment for me to sneak that in. How would you go about like this situation if you're wanting to continue talking to someone or potentially hanging out with them again? He doesn't have social media, so I can't just follow him on Instagram or something. My friend's boyfriend said he would give me his number, but I'm not sure if it would be weird for me to just text him. Should I wait until another potential group hangout kind of happens and play it out then? I wanted to suggest maybe my friend's boyfriend talk to him and feel out the situation to see if he said anything about me, but the three of us felt that that could be kind of weird too. I don't want to make the situation weird if I'm looking too deep into everything and reading it wrong. I also have a deep fear of rejection, which I know I need to get over and work on, but it's really hard. If you have any advice or have ever been in a situation like this, I would really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You talked through everything. We just got to put the pieces together now.
Yeah.
I think I would, if I was in your situation at the point that you're in right now, I would have the friend's boyfriend that's friends with him just say, ask him, hey, would it be okay if I gave
Oh, yeah.
such and such your number? I think that's the easiest way to do it without like feeling like it was some type of, it could just, that shows that you're interested in potentially hanging out.
Yeah. I think that's the most I would get the friend's boyfriend involved.
That's it.
Yeah. Because anything further than that, like, it's just like, no offense to your friend's boyfriend, but you don't know that he's necessarily the most reliable narrator. And like, when you add another person in this kind of game of telephone, not only do you not know if like what they're saying is they're accurately translating that to you, but there also might be like
filtering it.
Yeah. Or even just like how they're talking about you. They might be like misselling what you're like. It's just like, it can get messy and like not super direct nor like concise and helpful. But yeah, I think that's the most I would do. It'd just be like, hey, like, would you see if like it's cool if I gave him like, can you ask him if it's okay? Like if you gave me his number, he might not ask him, but like, then
at least and then but also he could be, if he liked, I hope he likes you. It seems like he likes you, like your friend's boyfriend likes you, like as a person. It'll be like maybe he doesn't actually ask him, but he just gives you the number anyway. But that means that that's a good sign too.
Yeah, that it's like, I don't need, like, I know he'll be fine with this.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't something that like I'd make an excuse if it wasn't like. But I think that like, I mean this with love. If you have to decide your fear of rejection, where are you at in that journey? Because if you are like if you can't take potential rejection right now, don't play. Like, don't participate in it. I've also been like, there are times like even like work stuff I've been there where I've like told our manager or something where I'm like, I like legitimately like, if I have this, even when it comes to auditions and stuff, I'm like, if there are constructive notes, give them to me. If they're not constructive, I don't want them. And you need to filter them through at least one other person. Cause like sometimes people just say things without thinking about other people's feelings or thinking about how other people, if I can't change anything about it, if I can't do anything about it, if it's just going to make like hurt me, I don't want to hear it. And if you're at the place where you're like, none of it will be beneficial to me. If there's nothing I can improve, if there's no reason, if it's just like, oh, he doesn't think you're attractive, like whatever it is, even if it's no reason behind it, just know your own like threshold for like what amount of rejection you can take right now. Because a fear of rejection, like it's one of those things that it's like a slow step forward and forward and forward. And it's inevitable. We're all going to face rejection all the time. But we need to face it in doses where we can get back up. And if you're at a specifically low point in your life, I would focus on nurturing that before pursuing things where you have more heavy feelings involved. Even this is like you have a crush, and like I think of a crush as a heavy feeling. Like it's like light and fun, but like that is like it takes up your mind. Like having a crush can be fun and also crushing. Like so I would, do some self-inventory on that. But
because you said that you're ready to date. You said that you don't want to get on the dating apps, but like you want it to be introduced through a friend or something. But you're wanting, if you're not prepared for rejection, that means that you're wanting your potential partner to do all the work to initiate getting numbers and moving to a one-on-one. But like, if this is what you're ready for, it doesn't matter who takes the initiative first. At least like, let's say he does reject you.
Yeah.
At least then that, this isn't the person for you right now, and you can move on to the next person. But if you do nothing, then you're just going to be constantly pining for them.
And you'll most likely end up building people up in your head. And exactly like that, like there's something, even if it doesn't end up the way you did it like you want it to, and he does reject you, you have a checklist and you have a circumstance where you want to meet someone, and you came up with that, and you've been out of your relationship for, I don't know exactly how long you said you were out of your relationship, but like within that timeline, you've already found someone who checks off these things, and you met in a situation. All that should do, if this is not the person for you, is reinforce you that like that there are multiple people out there. You can have these feelings again. Like I think that's the best thing after a breakup, when you have a crush on someone. Like if it doesn't pan out, that doesn't matter. All that matters is like, look, you can like someone again. Like you can have those feelings about someone again, and like that can keep you going and like recognizing that. But yeah, like you also don't know that like he doesn't have a fear of rejection, and like you have to put yourself out there if you want anything. And at any point in a relationship, you can face rejection. Like you don't get into the clear at all. Right. And that's like something that you have to work on yourself before you get into a relationship. But the best way to do any of this stuff is just to practice. And I know you don't like dating apps, but like, let's just say if this doesn't work out how you want it to, I think facing rejection on a dating app is a lot easier than facing rejection in person. And like, that might just help you with having no intention of meeting someone on a dating app. It might help you feel more comfortable with rejection with someone who you don't ever have to see again. Because you are kind of giving yourself a little bit of higher stakes in said rejection, you know?
Right.
Like I would feel it would be a little bit harder for me to feel rejected from someone who's like in a friend group that I'm also in. But you don't know unless you try. And if you wait till the next time, just how life works, someone else is going to have met him, and like they're not going to have waited. Like the timing is
key.
But also timing is key, and timing's also never perfect. Right. So like you said that you didn't have a time or an opportunity to like, don't worry about being awkward. Like life is always going to be awkward. Like things are always going to be awkward, and they're going to be weird. Like you just kind of have to grin and bear it. And you get through that to get into a relationship to find somebody you really like. Like I'm sure Mats and I felt so awkward around each other at the very beginning about things. Like I don't even think about that now. It's just kind of a means to an end. Like every first date's going to be awkward. Every second date, like it's always going to be like that. And trying to avoid awkwardness is just like, it's never going to happen. Right. You just have to know what can you handle in said moment. So hit him up immediately. And also having no social media is a green flag, but also he doesn't have like a secret family, right?
I don't know, but I don't think so. But also green flag, but my research is limited now.
I know. It's hard.
It might be better for you though.
The ultimate green flag though is you have social media, you just like never post.
Mott's.
Exactly.
You post for your anniversary. I said, what? I didn't remember. I didn't know.
You said to me, you were like, what'd he do? And I was like, what are you talking about? You're like, are you guys like in a fight to see the dog house or something? And I was like, no, why? And you're like, oh, he just posted. And I go, it's our anniversary. And you were like, I was like, why are you asking me this? What did he do? Nothing? No, I think you said, what did Mats do this weekend? And I was like, he went to his parents were what? Oh, I thought you were mad at him. Okay.
Hi, I'm a 23-year-old girl that goes by she, her. I'm calling today to get advice on dating after a breakup that happened a year ago. So I live in LA, and I met a guy at a club. He's 28 and goes by he, him. He has a 4-year-old daughter and works in the NBA. I know it's a non-conventional way to meet someone, but we started talking and realized we have so much in common. He lives in Ohio and moved to LA in February. For the time being, it's perfect for the both of us because I feel like we're establishing an emotional connection first rather than a physical one. The conflict I'm having with myself is creating a balance of how much power I want to give away to someone in a new relationship because in my last one, I gave everything away. I've been going to therapy for about 8 months and recently stopped because my therapist felt like I had all the tools to go without it and use what I learned on my own. She still does offer it anytime I need to talk or vent. For example, we had a conversation about my Instagram because I post risque photos, and for his job, he has to have a professional look to him. He reassured me that he doesn't see me any less or as if I'm not professional. He had told me in the past it was an issue with others when he wouldn't post or repost them because of what his colleagues could think. He told me if posting me is something I would want, if I could compromise and go on private so his colleagues could view him a certain way. He explained to me that he is a Black male and works hard for his career and doesn't want anything to compromise that. I see my Instagram as a creative outlet for my sexuality and confidence, but I feel like I'm being judged for it. In my therapy, I had realized how much of myself I had lost in my last relationship, leaving me with no friends, no confidence, and no self-love coming out of it. I worked so hard to build up every part of my life again, and so I guess my question is, how much is too much to compromise? If something makes my partner more comfortable, and how much is not? I'm not sensitive. I'm an Aquarius, and I've been a long-time listener for about 4 years, and I really do appreciate you guys in the podcast. Thank you so much.
Well, we love Aquarians on this podcast.
Do we?
As an Aquarius sun and an Aquarius rising, and Leo and Aquarius are sister signs. We hate Aquarius men. Love Aquarius men.
They're different.
No, Aquarius men are not okay.
I don't understand.
Yeah, it's red flags. So you didn't hear us whispering during this, but we sometimes we narrate along with the call. And I think we've both decided he's not a player.
No, there's no way. He's not a player.
Also, as soon as you said that he was from Ohio and he moved to LA, I was like, you are making this pool so fucking small for us to figure out who this is.
Yeah.
But then you talked about, and I was like, oh, okay, you're corporate.
And she said he works for the NBA. She didn't say he's in the NBA.
No, I know. I thought she was trying to be subtle at first.
Yeah. Also, you said I know this is an unconventional way to meet somebody. LA in your 20s, that's how I met a whole bunch of people.
Yeah.
I met at a club.
I met Drake at a club.
Yeah, but you weren't dating him. Yes, it's hard. I understand the compromise, how you feel like you're compromising yourself because you see that your social media as a creative way to express yourself. But I completely understand where he's coming from.
Without a doubt.
He's if he's working for the NBA, he must be some type of executive in the corporate office.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a coach. He could be some type of coach too. Either way, any of the people that aren't players, anybody that's button up has to have a certain decorum about what they're doing.
I think they have a little code of conduct.
They have a code of conduct, and they have rules that you have to abide by. So if you want to date him, you're gonna have to. If you want him to post, because he doesn't. It's not he doesn't. He's not against posting you. It's just that he can't post and then tag you, and then it gets back to the people that he works for. And then especially being a Black man in a position like this, he's under even more of a microscope, and they're gonna judge any of his actions no matter what. So I understand that this is hard for you, but I think it might be even harder for him.
Yeah.
And I don't want to minimize what you're going through at all. It's just that this is his life. This is his livelihood. This is his money. So he has to be on his best behavior at all times. So he can't compromise any of that.
Yeah. And he's a dad.
Mm-hmm.
That is also when his kid grows up, there's going to be rules about what the kid can and can't post, or if the kid is on private. When you are in a position where, the NBA might be slightly less white than most of the corporate at athletic stuff, but maybe by a 0.00001%. That's why most of those specifically the NFL and the NBA, if you look at the breakdown of the players and then you look at the corporate and who's calling all of these shots, it's, very, very, very white and corporate. So anyone who's attached to him becomes an extension of him. Right. So it's not about, from my perspective, it's not about what you do or if it's something that he likes or agrees with. I think your feelings are so valid in this. And honestly, you've made all this progress in therapy and specifically having the revelation of, I felt I gave away so much of my power in my last relationship. And this is something that you find really empowering. It honestly just might be you're not compatible for where his job is at. That doesn't mean that you as people aren't compatible. But also, I think if you really like him and you're really interested, I think having a conversation of being candid of being like, this is like triggering me and reminding me of my last relationship. Like, could we unpack this? Because he could tell you, like, I don't agree with any of the code of conduct thing. Like, I don't agree with these certain things that they like want me. But if he's a coach, like specifically, and like they get photographed and stuff, it's like, I don't like that I have to wear this. I don't think I have to dress up with this. I don't like that I can't wear like certain brands of like basketball shoes. I don't like can't wear like tennis shoes on certain things because it's not seeming professional. Like I don't like that I can't have my facial hair this way. I don't like I can't have my hair this way. Like it could be like maybe if you have a conversation with him and he can explain more that like, because for you this is new and like you're not a part of his work life, that you're only hearing this. Like this might be one of 1,000 fucking things that he has to factor into this.
Right.
And it might be helpful for you to have it not feel personal when you can hear the things that like he has sacrificed for this career that he doesn't agree with, or something that like for a kid sacrificing, that it's like, oh, we have to have like our nannies sign like something, like I have to hire a certain, like I have to hire a nanny who signs an NDA or like whatever it is that is like the privacy and the outward image of this. But again, I don't think that like, I think I would feel uncomfortable and like kind of like a little bit weirded out by that. But it doesn't mean that like that person is any like less of a great person. It just might mean that like we're not compatible for where we're at in our lives. So I don't fault you for like feeling like this is you giving away a lot of your power. And I also don't fault you if you felt like you wanted to do, if your like instincts are tingling and it feels like, I wonder if like this is a line he's giving me because he like, you know, has someone else that he doesn't want. He wants to make it so I don't ever want him to tag me. You know what I mean? When someone like tells you like, I can do this, you just have to do this. And it's like, well, I'm never going to do that. So like, you kind of know you're offering something like that. So if you feel like that, like, yeah, do some Googling, do some digging. I don't know how it seems like it's long distance right now. If your gut instinct is like, this feels like off, I think it's also important as like with anyone that you're dating, if you're going to make decisions about someone in like your life, especially if they're not around, where you can really get to know them in person and like pick up on body language and like your comfortability, Google. Like, don't go through, I'm not saying go through his phone. I do give that message when you feel like something's up. I don't think you think something's up, but like, if you have some qualms about this, Google, or if his kid's other parent is like still around or in the picture, I'm sure you could also ask how things have like gone in other relationships, or if they're still around, if like you can have a conversation with them. Like, I think if he is a good guy and he's been at this job for a while, it seems like this is not the first conversation he's had. And I think if he has access and a good relationship with an ex, I'm sure he'd be more than happy to have them talk to you about that, because I don't think he wants to come across as like a sleazy guy. Right. And he doesn't want you to do anything you're not comfortable with, but needs to create these boundaries with work. But if it also feels like it's coming from him, I think you need to ask some more questions to feel confident that you know where it's coming from, you know? But this is tricky. Like I just think you might not be compatible.
Yep.
But yeah, nothing wrong with meeting someone in a club.
Let's take a break.
Woohoo!
Hi, Meghan and Melisa. I love you guys so much. Let's jump into it. I'm 23, using she, her pronouns. My boyfriend is 22, he, him, and he has 3 older sisters, all using she, her pronouns. My boyfriend and I have been together for 3 years, and we were one of each other's best friends for 2 years before that. We've done long distance our entire relationship, but our hometowns are 30 minutes apart. His sisters are ages 24, 26, and 29. I get along with them really well. The problem is that they don't always act in a way that I think is okay. Normally, I just let that thought pass because it's none of my business. The issue arises when it affects me or my boyfriend. In the past, they've acted in ways that I perceive to be selfish. For example, recently my boyfriend visited me for a long weekend. He realized that one of his sisters and her boyfriend would be in town from the other side of the country to visit another sister who lives in the same city as me. My boyfriend asked if I would want to see them because he wanted to respect our time together. I said I did. He relayed the message, and his sister sent a link to a weed-themed comedy show. Basically, the comedians are high, the audience is high, everyone's smoking. I found this really shocking because my boyfriend struggled with weed dependency for years and hasn't used it now for a year and a half. This summer, my boyfriend, his family, and I were all together. His sisters, their significant others, and us were drunk, and my boyfriend ended up confiding in them about the abuse he underwent from their dad, as well as how this led into his weed dependency. They were so supportive, and it really felt like he could lean on them, which made me so happy, and I was really relieved that it wasn't this big secret anymore. My boyfriend said that he was disappointed by his sister suggesting this event for us, but he seemed to shrug it off. My question is, what do I do about this growing resentment? It's an uncomfortable feeling to have because in life I would usually be able to be direct with people. Usually they're my friends, coworkers, or family, and I can tell them how I feel or what I think. My therapist asked me at what point I'd feel comfortable voicing my concerns to them, and honestly, I don't know. I know my boyfriend would tell me that I can say whatever I want because he knows I'll never be rude, but I'm really worried that if I get too honest, things will get messy really fast. Also, this is a weird dynamic for me because I'm the oldest in my family. So now I'm associated with the youngest being my boyfriend, and sometimes it's awkward when I feel like his sisters are acting more immature. I could really use some help on this. I love you guys. I love the podcast, plural, so much. All right. I hope you have a great day. Bye.
Thank you for loving our podcasts. We appreciate it. Thank you so much. As a confrontational person, I know the pain. I know the pain of feeling like you can't just say what you want to say. But I do think there's something innately built in when it's not your drama and it's not your personal life. Like, it can be your extended life. It's not your personal life. And you care about the people on either end of it, but more specifically that you care about a positive outcome and a change, that changes how you talk about it. Like how I talk when I confront someone, like you were saying that like you're fine with this with like friends, coworkers, or whatever. The confrontation, no matter what, always has an end, has a resolution and a goal in mind. Like if I'm done with you and we're having a confrontation, like how I'm going to speak to you and what I'm going to say is very different if we have a working relationship and I'm trying to get something to be solved.
Yeah.
Or I'm trying to get you to understand something. Like there is a difference between this really like is really frustrating for me to watch, and I know that he was okay with it, but personally I really wasn't okay with it, versus like you're a fucking bitch and I hate you. Like there is, no matter what, like the content that you're saying is going to be different. So like your worry of like, I don't want to be too intense. I don't know. I would probably just write everything down, show your boyfriend, and just be like, I don't want to speak out of turn. And I also want to make sure I'm not speaking for you. And first ask him, like, would you be comfortable? I want to talk to your sister. I was going to write something. I can show it to my friend. Or I also wanted to know, like, do you want to read it over before I talk to them about this? If you don't want to, don't worry. But like, I just want to extend the offer there. And have someone else like, you know, read it over. And then I think like if you come from a genuine place, your delivery, no matter what, because it's like, it's your boyfriend and you care about him, it's really hard to subconsciously and accidentally like completely demolish a relationship when you're kind of going at it for somebody else. Like you're just going to be more careful. You know what I mean? Like I just can't imagine you're going to go too far. You're going to say something like so unforgivable because you know the consequence of that. And that's not what he wants.
Yeah. I mean, that's great non-toxic advice.
Give me your toxic advice.
I mean, it's not even advice for her, really. It's just like...
I'm sorry, the weed show seems...
I mean, that's obnoxious to me, but I'm sure there's several people that enjoy that. Just to me, if one of my sister's husbands came up to me to tell me their issues with something that I did that is directly affected to my sister, I'd be like, get out my face. Like, I don't really, and they're like my actual brother-in-laws. I've known all of them or both of them for 10 years now. Like, they're my family as well, but like, my sisters are my sisters, and they can say to me whatever they want, and we will fight and we will be back being sisters, but I'm sorry, but their husbands came to me with some bullshit. And this is not bullshit, but if they came to me, concerns or not, I'd be like, no, I'm not talking to you about this. If Meghan or Melanie has something to say with me, not this Meghan,
We're
Meghan or
sisters.
Melanie has something to say to me, then they can say it to me. But like, I don't need you running something through you about my sisters.
Yeah, I think like I don't disagree with that at all.
Yeah, like I don't disagree with your advice.
Yeah.
I'm just saying from my
No,
standpoint, that's how I would feel.
That's if I don't. I have a brother, but it's not the same.
He's
but like
a lot older than you. You didn't grow up together.
But I think if we did, like, if I would have the same point of view as you. So like, I think you, Melissa, but like, caller, I think you need to figure out like what you want, because like confrontation, like in this kind of instance, I think confrontation when it's like not, you're not confronting something in the moment. It's like, hey, this thing, like whatever, like, it's just like you can want to do it because you bring something up not in the moment, later on after you've thought about it, because you want to resolve something. That works in relationships and friendships when you are one half of a party that is involved. If you are an onlooker, really the only thing I can think of that like you can convey and you can get out of this is like, it might feel cathartic. And that's kind of it. And
that's for you. It's not for anyone else.
And like, I can't promise you that you're going to do that, and you're probably going to walk out of it more frustrated. Like, I think in theory, it might feel like really great and you just like want to get it off your chest, and like you think that you can like get to them and it can like change whatever. But it's just going to be for you, and it might only be for you for 2 seconds before like they shut it down. And it's just kind of like, why are you bringing this up? Like in the moment, I think like if they brought up like a weed show, I'd be like, I'd probably make a joke about it. And it's like a weed show. And it's like, well, I feel like that's probably not the right company. And like,
and there was something else that you could do altogether.
Yeah.
But like after the fact, and if he's already revealed a lot about himself and gave them a reason why, I don't see why you need to go add to it when things have already been said. He shared about his abuse and why he was smoking and why he stopped smoking with them. Like, I just don't know what you can add to that.
And I don't know what what you're going to get out of it and what he's going to get out of it, because like sometimes it is good to like correct people after the fact of being like, hey, that wasn't cool. And I wouldn't do that moving forward. And there's a window to do that. But all that really is just to say it. Like, it's just to say it. It's kind of to check it off in your mind. Like someone says something out of pocket and you didn't feel comfortable saying something in the moment, and you say it, like you pull them aside a minute later because you don't want to say it in front of everybody. But like, that's it. Like, you can't expect that that's going to lead to that person apologizing or changing their behavior or like doing anything like that. You can't control their relationship, and you're an onlooker of their relationship, and you can also be a critic of their relationship. You can not like her. You can like her, but not like how she treats him. But you are not in control of how that relationship moves forward, not just on her actions, but also his. Like, if he doesn't want to call it out in the moment, you doing it might backfire and make it worse. Like, he needs to go by what he wants. And sometimes, like, it's just nice to be able to have a partner to vent to without thinking that, or without worrying that they're going to then turn around and tell someone else.
Right.
Like, tell the person about that. Like, he said that he told you that, like, you know, it's fine. But like, I don't know. I would probably revisit that conversation with him. And like, are you hearing what you want to hear in that moment? Or is he being like, yeah, if you want to talk to them, like, I don't think anything, like, you don't have to, like, something's not going to change. Like, I don't think you'll get anything out of it. But if you really want to, like, I can't stop you. That's very different than, you know, I do feel pretty like uncomfortable having this conversation. Like, I would be really happy if you could have a conversation. Like, let's come together and like write down what I would like you to say. And I'm going to have a follow-up conversation with her like afterwards when I feel a little bit more confident in like how I feel about this. There's just a big difference there. And you just can't fix this relationship. And like, all relationships, friendships, like siblings, like they ebb and flow. They go through different phases and different times. You also don't, and not to like totally minimize this, you also don't know that the weed thing was like malicious. It literally could have been a total brain fart.
Yeah, like I don't drink, but I'll still go to a bar. You know, they could have been thinking of it in that way.
Yeah. And what he's shared with you, a lot of times in our adult life, we can find it a little easier to like share deeply personal things with someone who like doesn't know the intricacies like of our entire life and like how we grew up. Like that can be a little easier. So you honestly might have more insight than his siblings do, but also
you're not
unbiased.
You're unbiased. You're not related to the dad. That's not your father. Like it would be easier for you to say something. It would be easier for him to say something to you as opposed to other people that are going to be affected by this. You're not affected by this.
Yeah.
In a direct way. You're affected through his emotions.
Yeah. So this is like a complicated family thing. And I think that like from what you've said, his sisters have been really supportive when he brought that up.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that them inviting him to do this negates that support. I think there's a lot of reasons. And it also just could have been an oversight and like an unintentional offense. But if your boyfriend like needed an apology and like needed them to recognize that, like it's his responsibility to get that from them, not yours.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you involve yourself, it needs to be done. It has to be done as a unit with you and your boyfriend, regardless if he's like physically there. He needs to know everything you're saying, and he needs to not only co-sign, but like enthusiastically want you to say this. Like you either need to be the vessel for that conversation, or just not at all. But yeah.
All right. Next call.
Yep.
Hi, Meghan and Melisa. I just got out of a very long 7-year relationship, 25 she, her, and moved out of my ex's place to a new apartment on the other side of the city to not only be out of his house, but to be closer to my work and my friends. This past weekend, I went on a date with a guy, 26 he, him, where I think we both intended it to be a drink date and a hookup, which it was. He wasn't a bad guy, just a little boring, and the sex was fine. It was good, but not legendary by any means, and I wouldn't want to have sex with him again. The main problem is that when we were discussing where to go after the bar, he asked where I lived. Turns out in one of the biggest cities in the country, he lives in the apartment building exactly next to mine. This means that the guy I intended to have a one-night stand with now lives 1 minute away from me, knows which apartment is mine, goes to the same gym as across the street as me, same Starbucks as me, same market as me, literally everything. I just moved to this apartment like a week and a half ago after searching for months. I literally even denied his offer to pick me up because I didn't want him to know where I lived for just a hookup. If I really, really liked the guy, I don't think this would be as big of a deal, but he's not interesting to me and now will be able to find me anytime he wants. He even wants to go to the gym together, which I don't want to do because I don't even like going with friends. Like, oh my God, what do I do? I don't want to see this guy again, but that's going to be impossible. I already changed my entire gym and local routine around not seeing him again, but that won't work forever. So please, any advice would do. I think I'm a cursed person that there's no way my one-night stand is now my neighbor, and he's already texting me again. So anything would do. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Love you guys. Been listening for years. Bye.
There's only 2 options.
Witness protection program.
Move.
Yep.
Or just flat out tell him you're not interested. I think that's the best option because you can't move. I mean, you could move, but I don't know how long you're in your lease, and you can't change your routine forever. And let's say you change your routine and just happens to be y'all walk out in the street at the same time. I've run into people I don't want to see.
Me too. This is my personal hell.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're living a sitcom. Like this is a sitcom
a
trope,
sitcom, or it's a romantic comedy where you're like, I never want to see that guy again. But he actually is the love of your life. And
why does he keep popping up?
Next door.
Right under my nose.
Yeah.
Enemies to lovers.
You just gotta tell him you're not interested.
Yeah, but you gotta be specific because there was no strings. This was just like a hookup.
Mm-hmm.
So as somebody who is ghosted like a fuck buddy, you have to be very specific in how you, I didn't ghost, but like if you were going to tell a fuck buddy you're not interested, you have to be specific. And when I say specific, you have to lie.
Mm-hmm.
You have to tell him that you got back together with your ex.
I'm not saying
You do.
that.
You don't have to say this ex specifically, but like you need
the ex me.
you need to like, I find that like the best way, because it's like, well, no, it's just like casual. But like you can say like I started dating someone new. Sure. Like I'm starting to see someone new seriously. Okay. That sometimes can be like, well, I can compete, like blah, blah. If you met them, when did you meet them? If I was sleeping with blah, 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 blah. You know what? Usually men just shut them up. Back with my ex. Because that is just like, oh, I don't know the history. I don't know how long you've been together. Like that's enough.
That's something you have to keep up in case you accidentally run into them too. And then let's say you start dating somebody and then you accidentally run into them.
I would say my ex and I are talking again. Because here's the thing. What is worse? Seeing him in person and having to just be like, oh yeah, my ex and I are talking again. He doesn't know who your ex is. He doesn't know which ex you're referring to. And also it could be like, by the time he sees you again, it's like, oh yeah, it didn't work out. Then you're like seeing someone new or whatever.
It didn't work out. Okay, so do you want to hang out?
No, but if you're seeing someone new,
you're just gonna, yes, but like,
or you can pretend the new person is your ex, but you're not friends with him. Like, how much conversation you're having?
I just think that this is gonna snowball in the comedic way, and it's just gonna crash back down on you.
But what is worse, seeing someone at a Starbucks who you've told that you're back with your ex, and like even if they know it's a lie, versus being like, hi, I'm not interested in you after we had sex, and then he's like, you're seeing someone who's like, oh, you didn't like having sex with me?
No, it's like, hey, I had a really good time that one time, but that was enough.
Melissa,
you were so good that you just like sealed it. I'm done.
I never have to have sex again.
I'm good. It was so satisfying.
No, you have to.
I'm not. I don't co-sign with the lie.
I don't co-sign with yours. No, but you're giving him a door.
If you see him, like, hey, that's it. We don't have to have a conversation. I'm actually going to pretend like I don't see you.
Fake amnesia. Be like the guy from this week's episode. Oh, I can't even tell you, but there's an episode. There's a write-in for this week's episode of But Am I Wrong? Do that. No, I just think that like, you have to evaluate the situation. Yeah, I was like, what?
I was like, what are you talking about? Oh, there we
go. You have to evaluate the situation. But I think if you are trying so hard to avoid him by like switching like gyms and all of that kind of stuff, my biggest fear, yes, would be him knowing where I live and safety wise. And so for me, I would have that lie include that I am, if on the chance, because, you know, I was going to say 50-50, way higher chance, that he's like gonna be one of those angry misogynist, I'm a nice guy kind of thing. Like I would like to keep the image up that there is a man who you will make up in your head. This man, like what? There's a man here. Like don't come back. Like I'm not just sitting at home by myself. Like I'd also probably get a dog.
Building doesn't allow dogs, but his does.
I would move. I just think that like you can only know how he'll react to something. Like, is he someone who is going to like just take that you're not interested in stride? Is that just going to be like, is he done? Or is he not going to be like, does there need to be somebody else like involved? And even then, like I've had ones where like, I'm like, oh, I'm seeing someone like more seriously now, and they still don't stop.
Yeah.
And like,
why you should just tell the truth.
But then they're still not going to stop either way.
Okay. Well,
one of them, you get to live a sitcom. What are you and your honest truth?
The whole situation is a sitcom.
Yeah, but you want to play into why? Don't make her be the straight man. Let her play into the bit.
Or it can be the bitch that says, I'm done.
If you feel safe and you think he will take that and that will be okay. But hey, a lot of the time until a man knows that there's another man, like that's it. Like that's like when they'll stop. Like, you know, I've had guys who are like, oh, I'm not interested. And then it's like, oh, I'm not, blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, oh, I have a boyfriend. They're like, oh, okay. Because those are apparently two different things, you know? So, but also, I don't want to, like, I'm a firm believer in, like, you can be paranoid about, like, paranormal, but I don't think you can be paranoid about like as a woman or anyone. I mean, not even just as like, but like as a person, I don't think you can ever be too paranoid about people and like your safety and that stuff. So like if you, whatever you want to do, you want to get a Ring doorbell, you want to get something like that, like don't feel like you're being too extra, like whatever helps you feel safe. But I hate a clingy one night stand.
Yeah.
And also the sex was
the whole purpose of a one night stand. It's one night.
Yeah. Or you could just lie and tell them you moved. Or you have a twin sister.
You're going to run into them.
You have a twin sister.
You got to keep up this life forever.
Maybe this is how much I need an acting job, because I'm like, why do you keep saying this? Like, that's going to be a hard or not fun thing. Like, character work every day.
Yeah, because you're an actor.
I know. I think I'm really projecting what I would do.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, that's what this podcast is.
Us projecting our thoughts onto other people?
No, you have to come from your own personal, what you would do. And you've got two options here. You could tell the truth or you could lie. I'm team lie.
I'm clearly team truther. I'm a truther.
Oh my God. You heard it here first. Someone save me. Okay.
All right, let's take a break.
Woo! We're back from our break. We're doing Don't Blame Them. This is where listeners will call in with their own advice pertaining to a call we had on a previous episode. Oh, actually, before we get into this, should we read the update message? Yeah. So last week's episode, the title episode, which was Mom Used a Slur, we got a message from that caller.
From that daughter.
Yep. So thought I would share for everybody. Hi, M&M. I, unfortunately, am the caller with the racist mom from today's episode. I wanted to reach out to thank you for your advice. After hearing my call and how you both interpreted some of the things I said, politically incorrect, quote unquote, the world is changing. I'm embarrassed at how naive and oblivious it made me sound. I am realizing how deeply I've internalized and downplayed the racism I and others have experienced in my family. So thank you for calling that out as well. Also, I played the call response for my boyfriend. He felt very validated by your words and agreed with your advice. Hopefully, I will have a positive update in the near future. I love both your podcast and both of you, XO. We love you too, and you're gorgeous, and your boyfriend is. We're not
stalkers.
No.
But, like, if information is there, then we're going to research it.
We just want to let you know, you and your boyfriend are very hot.
Mm-hmm. Very.
You're very hot. So congratulations on that. You have got a good guy who's also nice to look at.
Yeah.
And you're also great because you're gorgeous and you also listen to our podcast. So like you both, and he liked what we said.
Advice in stride too.
Yeah. And you played him this and he liked our advice and agreed with what we said. So like you guys are, I can't give them anything, but if you could give them a figurative, what do you give them? A moissanite? Because they're not like.
Yeah.
A topaz?
No. Let me give them a diamond in the sky, as in Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star.
Oh, nice. Intergalactic.
Yes.
So you have like literally checked off all the boxes. You recommended to a friend and your friend is your boyfriend and you both like us. So we wish nothing. We always were rooting for the both of you.
Splendid.
But thank you for sharing that. And I think I'm glad you were able to take that in and you felt comfortable playing that with your boyfriend too. So.
All right.
Now time for Don't Blame Them.
Hey, Meghan and Melisa. I'm calling for a Don't Blame Them for the episode I Hope Nothing But the Worst for Him about the adult relationships call. I'm 25, she, her, and I loved your suggestions, but I just had some more advice for them. So what I've noticed in my adult relationship is that I have kind of like different categories of friends, and that sounds bad, but it's definitely not. It's just some friendships I treat like long distance relationships and really schedule things out and have like dates and times and locations. And some of them I just treat very spontaneously, and we just
text the day of or the day before, like, hey, what are you doing tomorrow? Do you want to
Target
go
friends?
get coffee? Do you want to go to Target? Do you want to just hang out, watch a movie? And I feel like that's okay, especially in big transition times when a lot of people are either moving or settling into new jobs or getting new schedules. It's really hard to kind of meet up with people and you feel very isolated and alone. But just know that everybody going through the same transition is also feeling isolated and alone and probably wants somebody to reach out and see if they want to hang out with them. And I think that if you just continue to reach out to people and kind of adjust your relationships to how they're kind of moving, it'll definitely help out. So I hope that makes sense. I love the show. I'm so glad that I could call for something. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Okay, bye.
Splendid advice.
Absolutely splendid. We used to give this advice.
Mhm.
I don't think we did it in this time, but like,
No, we didn't. We were keeping it fresh.
yeah,
But,
it's one of our age-old things. It's
Yeah.
like friends have categories. And I literally said to Melissa, as you caller were saying it, I was like, Target friends. Like that was like the term we would use.
Uh-huh.
And you were like a friend to go to Target with.
Yeah.
So if you've been listening for a while, you actually might have been giving advice we gave you.
But if not, then we're all on the same page. And
it's a universal experience.
It's a universal experience. And, it's good to, have somebody else say something that we've said before without us repeating ourselves.
Yeah. And like that is something that changes. And that I think is the best way to lean into that transition.
Yeah.
Is recognizing that friends have categories. Even when you're growing up, they did too. But you just don't, it's not as obvious.
Your dance friends.
Yep.
You have your, like for me, like church friends. You have your whatever activities. It's just what activities or things, or even like your parents' friends' kids, or like those friends too.
And even like friends you have in different classes that like friends you have lunch with and like you might not see that much. And like you have friends that you hang out with in this math class, but you don't really spend a lot of other time together. And like you have those things.
The neighborhood friends.
Carpool friends, like someone who goes to your same bus stop. Like you have all of that stuff, but because it's in a smaller bubble, it doesn't feel like they're so parceled off and you don't have to do as much. But when you're an adult, you have to maintain those categories. So great advice. Wonderful, amazing. And that's it for our episode. Head on over to our Instagram, follow us. We would appreciate our individual ones and also the podcast account. We're also on TikTok. And if you are still listening at this point, which you should be, go comment who's the coolest person you've ever met at a club. Can be a local. Doesn't have to be someone very, very cool.
Yeah.
Or your coolest club story. Or your most unhinged club story.
I once got fingered at a Vegas club next to the pool.
Melissa?
And then he flipped me over his head, like Dancing with the Stars. And then the security guard came over and was like, can't do that.
Wait, I need to know your I hate that I am asking a follow-up. I need to know your proximity to the pool.
We're not in the pool.
No, I know.
Next to the pool.
But are you on the slippery spot? Or are you on the rough concrete?
No, I was on like a lounge chair. Also, Rihanna and Bruno Mars. And he got
You love Bruno Mars?
Huh?
You love Bruno Mars?
Yes, I do.
Oh.
He got busted for coke that night.
What? No
Yes.
way.
So that's my
I am shocked. Cocaine? In Vegas?
Yeah, it was all in the
at a day part.
It was before
wow.
he was like who he is now.
So he was just like a man in a fedora.
Yeah, he was up and coming. Like people knew who he was, but it was all in the news.
You mean to tell me a man in a fedora did cocaine in Vegas? Color me shocked.
Yeah,
I did some questionable drugs in Vegas.
But that's my craziest story.
No, okay. So he flipped you over on. I'm sorry. Now I can only think of Bruno Mars flipping you over. And is he knocking off his fedora when that happens?
Huh?
I said, will Bruno Mars accidentally knock off his fedora when he flips you over?
It was not Bruno Mars. It was a man. He told me, I mean, I didn't believe any of his story, but he told me he was very rich and all this other stuff. I was just horny and just making out. Every night that we went out, I had a different dude that I was with. And my friends were like, you're pulling all these guys. And I was like,
what? Like it's hard?
Right.
Wait, no. So are you on like a platform at are you on like a table?
Think of like a pool, I don't even remember what club it is, but pool. And then there's people, like it's not deep enough. So like it's people dancing in the pool, but it's also nighttime too. So it's like, it's turned into full club. And
I hate when
on
people
one
are,
of
I
the
hate that at
little
night.
chairs on the side, and I was sitting and talking. I had on a dress.
Well, yeah, easy access.
Yeah,
I
and
didn't
then
think
he
he
was
like got you through some
we were, like,
trousers.
making out, and he like then fingered me, and then he was like, come to my hotel room, and I said, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not trying to get murdered.
I'm trying to get fingered. I'm not trying to die.
Yeah. And then he was like, and then we were dancing, and he was telling me that he was a good dancer, and he flipped me over his head like ballroom
On the dance floor.
Yeah, ballroom dance
Okay.
style. And then the people at the club were like, the
You can't.
bouncers were like, you can't do that.
Okay.
And I'm like, what if it was the 50s? What would we be able to do
This makes more sense to me. So you were swing dancing as opposed
Not
to
swing dancing. No, we were like dancing.
No, I know, but like,
But
you know,
then
a
he just-
swing dancing kind of, you know, like that's what
Yeah.
they do the flips. In my mind, you were on a lounge chair and he just like pancake flipped you over. And I was like,
no.
that's not sexy.
No.
Okay. Or I thought it was like a cheer stunt and he was like, and herky and basket toss. Wow. That's a good
So,
club story.
Yeah.
I've never gotten any ass in a club, but granted, the only time, well, I'm trying to think if that's true. I had times in Vegas twice. Yeah, one time but yeah, and then the other time was when I was figuring out if I liked Mott's or not. And I was like, I'm gonna like, this is all in my book, everyone go read it, you're not special. But I was like, I'm like, this is like, my friends were all like, you're gonna be like, this is the weekend that you just figure out like yes or no, like figure it the fuck out. Everyone's like, make out with someone, like find someone, like go hook up with someone, blah blah blah. The first fucking people who come up to us, like we literally just got to like the club beach chairs. I don't think I mentioned this in the book, maybe I did. We get there and it's like 2 seconds, these group of guys come over and they're like hitting on us. And I'm asking them what they do. And they work at the other one of the other big agencies in LA. And I'm like laughing. And then they,
It is. Yeah.
And when they asked where, and turns out they're like, oh, do you know Ma Sangdal? And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? And that was my sign. I was like, yes, I do. Like this kid is somehow through his mind sent people who know him here. And they followed up with him like a while ago. They were like, hey, like, can I get that girl like Megan's number or something like that? Like, I know you know her. And I was like, oh, we're kind of dating. And he was like, oh, sick. Congrats, dude. Nice. Yeah, tell us your crazy club story. We don't even have to know the people. It doesn't have to be celebrities. Like, you can literally just be like.
Just a story.
Yeah, just a story. I love it.
Because I was just telling my story and then I remembered that Rihanna and Bruno Mars were there.
Dude, that
was before she was a billionaire.
I miss clubs.
I do too.
That might be the most shocking thing about us. Like,
I love a club. I love clubs.
I love a club.
The dancing, the people watching.
Attention. Dressing like an absolute whore and dancing like I'm doing it for dollars. Like, that's like literally my dream. Yeah. Like, I love it.
Maybe we'll go one day when your lungs are back. If they
we would
back.
have let's be positive.
I know.
It's mostly my heart. My lungs are just suffering along with them. Maybe. I hope. I don't know. Yeah. Mott's and I have also like never been to like Vegas or a club together, and he like also loves it.
Bachelorette party.
Vegas. I know, we've talked about it. Like, we used to like before the pandemic happened, like we used to like look up concerts in Vegas because we were like, we don't want to just go because like that's weird and like I don't drink and like it would just be like what would we be going for as a couple now? So we like always were trying to find a concert like as our excuse to go. But the issue is like when we go with boys, like you have to pay for stuff.
Yeah.
That sucks.
I know. I was
like,
with somebody that worked in PR and she just knew how to work a fucking room. And we were in VIP in no time. She just like, she saw this is another movie moment. She saw like a waitress passing by with empty champagne glasses and she just grabbed them and gave it to each of us and said, just act like you're supposed to be here. And we just walked into VIP and sat down.
Like, Vegas is free when you have tits.
Yeah.
And that's beautiful. Like, it's what we deserve. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. We've got plans now.
We do. We're going to Vegas, baby. Imagine we do like a podcasting in Vegas and we're just like, them in Vegas. And we're just like in thoughty dresses, like chunky platform heels.
I'm ready for this.
Me too.
I'm not joking.
Yeah. Pussy fucking ready.
Yeah.
Pussy ready to pop. Drop.
I can pop on a handstand, actually. Did you know that?
I'm going to make you, we're going to need to put some, I don't want you, not on the dance floor.
No,
I was like, your hair's gonna get so dirty.
Yeah,
that was like,
like
I'm gonna need to get a whole bunch of people
No,
to create a
right.
human chain around you and some Lysol on the floor before you do that. I think you could get an infection.
Yeah, I agree. Hold on, my friend sent me a picture.
So I'm glad you didn't
Let me
get
just
fingered
do
in the
that.
pool because I also think
No,
you get an infection.
I know that. That's just me in a regular handstand. Now you just
That
arch your
form is
back.
fucking
I
fantastic.
know. Just arch your back.
You also kind of look like a serial killer in that. Like,
It's fine.
it's just like you don't look real. Like you look like you're so like it's such a perfect handstand. You're like, are you a axe murderer? Like, why can you do that so well?
All you gotta do is arch, and to P-pop, you just arch your back, let your legs sink down, and then you just pop your hips.
And my role will be, woo,
No, you gotta
go,
I want you
go.
to smack it.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah. No,
throw dollars.
but I'm here to encourage the crowd to monetarily spend on your talent.
Great.
I'm here as I'm a very tall, very lanky hype woman.
We bring a safety plastic thing to put down. So
That's what I was like. I hose you down. I take the floor. I get my Swiffer and I go, hold on, everybody. And they're like, is this the Jabberwockies? And then you come out, spin it. So you have to learn a whole breakdance.
No,
Yes.
that's not how you whore. You don't
No.
whore into breakdancing.
Because we're going to
just
trick them to you
P-pop.
thinking that you're
I just do
Jabberwockies.
the little
You have the
jumpy
mask.
jump.
You have the Jabberwockies mask on. Everyone goes, Jabberwockies. They're excited. You don't need to see them for that long. You rip the mask off. You take the black tracks up. You're suddenly just hot. And then pussy's popping. And they're like, whoa. They're confused and they're turned on.
I like that.
It's performance art. Okay, see us in Vegas coming soon. Oh, you're gonna read a review.
Yeah.
So sorry, I distracted you.
Ugh. This is from Monica Quinn. I don't know if that's your real name, but if it is, you should change it if you can. This is a good review. I'm just saying.
Oh,
just so
I
it's
was
not
like,
public.
Damn, we're slandering Monica Quinn
No.
quickly.
No. Thoughtful and a good time. 5 stars.
She came out to be like, hi everyone, I work at NASA and I was like twiddling my bean while at work.
What?
So I'm saying, why did she need to get rid of her name?
I'm just saying. Like some people.
Oh, she didn't say anything incriminating.
No,
Oh, okay. I was
just-
like, what a weird review. Okay. Sorry.
You know, sometimes you might leave a bad review and then you don't realize that your name
Oh
is
no,
on there.
leave your name on there.
If it's a bad, not
Yeah.
for us, I'm telling you about someone else. Like
Oh.
maybe it was like a terrible podcast. It's just like
Yeah.
some men with a microphone, and you're like, I gotta go leave a terrible
yeah.
review.
Be wary.
Yes,
But if you're leaving a negative review on our podcast, please use your full name.
even if you don't use your full name, we'll
Find you.
Megan and Melissa are like my WFH friends. What does that mean?
Work from home.
Okay, is that what you're going? Is that what it actually means?
Yes.
Oh.
Have you not received a single email blast in the last 2 years?
No, I don't have to be blasted with emails.
You're blasting yourself.
Mhm.
No, like literally everything of being like work from home, casual chic, like this
Oh, I
with this.
unsubscribe from all by people that sell
And
stuff.
you missed the whole productivity
And I haven't.
2022,
I ha-
2020
I
TikToks.
have a whole email address where all that goes to that I don't check.
And you didn't see any TikToks in 2020 where they were like,
I
my
don't
work
think
from
so.
home aesthetic, my work from home, blah, blah,
They
blah.
put WFH.
Yeah, and a hashtag. No one wrote hashtag work from home aesthetic. That's too many letters.
I don't never read the hashtags at the bottom.
Oh, I do. I'm always
Oh.
I'm always curious.
Mm-mm.
I should have made something up. I really thought you were joking. You knew what it meant.
No,
I
I
should have
didn't.
made something up. Okay.
Okay. They keep me company for 2+ hours between this and But Am I Wrong during my otherwise pretty socially deprived work week. I called in once and their advice added perspective and helped lift my uncertainty on the situation, leaving me with more clarity to decide how to proceed.
We got a copywriter on our hands.
Beyond their wholesome friendship.
Well, we probably should have read this before our Vegas thing that we just talked about. But yeah,
Genuine friendship.
there you go.
Wholesome.
We have holes.
Yeah.
Some.
Wholesome friendship and entertaining banter. They are always thoughtful and concerned and inclusive. Their empathy and integrity are amazing, and I truly thank them for it. They are actually putting out what they wish to see in the world, but
This
we
is
need
so nice.
more, which is honesty. Thank you, Monica Quinn.
Monica Quinn. That was so kind.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we paid you to write that. I know we didn't because like
we don't have
we
any
have
money.
no money. So please join our Patreon. Or if you work for a company that does podcast ads, hit up our email and pay us. Adam and Eve.
Bzz.
Bzz, bzz. That's so nice. Thank you. We appreciate it. If you want to leave a review, it really does make our day.
Mm-hmm.
And
that made us smile.
it did. And maybe it will help us make money from our podcast.
We're trying.
Desperately, we're trying. So thanks for joining us. You can head on over to our Patreon and yeah, we'll see you all next time. Goodbye.
Don't Blame Me is a production by me. Executive produced by Melissa DeMonts and Diamond Imprint Productions. Edited by Coco Lawrence. Post-production sound by Chris Henry. Production assistance by Melanie D. Watson. Music by Ryan Hunter and Giacomo Picasso.
Listening to a podcast should be time well spent, and I promise it will be if you'll give this podcast a try. It's called Something You Should Know. I'm the host, Mike Carruthers, and in every episode, I talk with leading experts on topics I know you will find fascinating. From why people can't keep secrets, what your favorite music says about you, why your pet acts in strange ways, and so much more. Something You Should Know is designed to give you information you can use in your life and give you great intel that you can share with others. I'm told it's a binge-worthy podcast. And with over 1,000 episodes, there's a lot to binge on. Something You Should Know has been ranked in the top of the Apple Podcast charts consistently for a long time. I know you're going to like this. I just need to get you to try it. Something You Should Know. It's available wherever you listen to podcasts.